2024 study session of Livonia City Council. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable, no longer with us, Councilman Jim Jolly. We're just going to say the council. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody. We turned the heat up just to make sure everybody... I'm messing. It is an inferno here. All right. So this meeting sets the agenda for the 2007 regular meeting, which is a voting meeting that will take place, believe it or not, on Wednesday, December 18th, where tonight's items will be officially voted on. We do have one absence. Councilman Jim Jolly has resigned officially, so we are at 6. I'm going to jump right into audience communication. Council has set aside 30 minutes for items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any audience communication? Seeing none, I am going to move on to council announcements. I have just one announcement that we have new data on item number 12. Council, do we have any communications? Seeing none, we're going to jump right in.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
You may, I know Councilwoman Wazinski did remind them, but the parade, go ahead. Would you take it over?
So the Marion Bright Parade is this Sunday at 4 o'clock. So it goes down Farmington from Ford Field down to City Hall, where there's the tree lighting ceremony. And then there's the after party at the Civic Center Library, where you can visit with Santa, get some refreshments, and do crafts with kids. Buddy the Elf will be there as well. So it's always a good time. Hopefully it's good weather. I know it's kind of been hit or miss the last couple of years, so fingers crossed.
Vice President?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kind of piggybacking on what Mrs. Bazinski was just talking about, the Night of Lights starts this weekend at Greenmead, and it'll be the next 3 weekends. More lights, more activities, more fun. That's always a great time. So if you get a chance, stop by Greenmead.
There we go. Always a fun party going on. And right now, and I'm probably gonna jinx this, and so you can blame it on me if the weather goes bad, but it looks like 45 and partly cloudy on Sunday, which is really awesome compared to the last few years we've had, which I think has been literally the worst possible. Billy Keppen is always, he's our
great guy.
He is our guru of the parade. Obviously, he has a great team with Parks and Recreation, does a phenomenal job, and it always is crazy when he gets locked up with the craziest weather conditions. It was like the Buffalo Bills playing yesterday. So with that, everybody get out there. We're going to be throwing candy out to everybody. It's a great time, great community time. We see the tree get lit up, all the lights go up, and believe it or not, like I said, it's already December, which is wild. So time is flying.
Oh, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to remind everybody of the wonderful game on Saturday with the University of Michigan taking on Ohio State.
Was there a game?
Yeah, there was a game,
Oh,
and
wow.
It was quite well done. At the end, not so well done, but certainly the game itself was.
Councilwoman Toy, who won?
University of Michigan, of course.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
That is awesome. What a game. What a game. And then our Lions scared everybody because they came for the first half and then decided not to play in the second.
Thank you, Matt Eberflus.
Yes.
Game ball in the mail.
We'll wish them better. Anything else from council? All right. We're going to jump right into new business. Item number 1 is a request to waive the sidewalk requirement for a newly constructed home at 37601 Ammerheim. Is the petitioner here? Good evening. Now you gotta tell us why we should waive this, and then I'll hand over to Councilman Donovic.
Hello, my name is Rami Abdelnour. Just finished building a house at 37601 Ammerheim Road. The reason for the request for the waiver is because there's no sidewalks on either side of the street for the whole neighborhood. So, thank you for your consideration.
Councilman Donovic.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, sir. Thank you guys. Building a very beautiful home in our community. Council, I've overlooked, as we all have, the map, and there's no sidewalks in the area, and the city's never going to install sidewalks. It's more of a little bit kind of commercialized road over there, so I'd like to make an approving on consent. There's no objection from my colleagues.
We have an approve it on consent. Anything further from council? Anything from the audience? So being on consent, you can hang out with us on our next meeting, but your item is all but assured to pass.
Okay,
So
thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Anything from the audience based on the skywalk requirement? Nope. All right, moving on to item number 2 is a request to approve the Shops at College Park Planned General Development Agreement between the City of Livonia and Haggerty Six Partners, LLC. This is Eric Williams, PE, Stonefield Engineering Design, on behalf of Haggerty Six Partners. Petition 2024-02-02-03, approved by the council on April 15, 2024, pursuant to CR 135-24, requesting waiver use approval for a planned general development consisting of a retail shopping center and multifamily housing under a single unified plan located at 39200 6 Mile Road. Mr. Termina, is that yours?
Thank you, yes. So this agreement is a required condition of the waiver use that was granted earlier this year to the developer of the shops at College Park, which is at Haggerty and 6 Mile Roads. This is the former Comerica site. This document is similar to other planned general development agreements that have been approved in the past, including the Haggerty Center and Livonia Marketplace. It essentially outlines and sets forth terms and conditions to ensure compliance with the plans that were approved by council. It includes the layout of the property, of the project, lighting, signage, parking, the architecture, all other site design standards, as well as divisions, leasing, and separation of ownership, stormwater management, permitted and prohibited uses, as well as some plan adjustments. There is a key provision in this document that relates to the phasing of the project, and that is paragraph 1.6. The ordinance requires that there be at least 30% of the residential units completed before occupancy of the commercial buildings. The developer is requesting a special adjustment to this. This is similar to the approach that was taken at Haggerty Center, and he is asking that in order to expedite the opening of the grocery store, that only the foundations of the apartment buildings be installed at such time that the store opens. We are okay with that. I think it represents a commitment on the part of the developer to complete the planned general development agreement as opposed to separating it out. So with that, Mr. President,
Sure.
I'll answer any questions
Yes.
you may have.
Councilman
Mr. Durade Marcus, the owner and developer, is here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Well, I think we've been through this.
Yes.
And, you know, what a wonderful addition to this community. And that whole area, the only thing I worry about is driving at times because it's a little crowded, and that's a good sign. So I would like to offer an approving on this on consent if we are able. Yep. If somebody feels that we shouldn't have it on consent, please, let me know. But I think we've seen it enough, and obviously we should probably hear from the petitioner. But
Yeah,
I thought I'd jump in early.
And just to point out to the audience and everybody at home, again, we have had an approving, we've studied this item back, and I think it passed on April 15th, 2024. So this is more of a formality to kind of wrap everything together. Again, we take these developments very serious, and I know we had a lot of topics of conversation at that time. I'm going to hand it over to Councilman Donovic, if you still have something.
Mr. President, you answered my questions and touched on what I was going to touch on. Thank you, sir.
Cool. Anything else from council? Yep. Councilwoman Bazinski.
Yeah, just since it has been a minute since we've gone over what this is, could the petitioner or Mark just describe what are the new buildings that we're going to be built and a timeline for those who are interested?
Hi, good evening. My name is Durade Marcus. I'm one of the principals of Haggerty Six Partners. I appreciate everyone's effort here today. Mr. Tormey and I have been working diligently with my group to try to get this project launched. At this point, we're waiting on permits. We've submitted plans for Whole Foods, which will sit on the northern portion of the property. And we're waiting to start that phase because that's the most critical phase for us. We have timelines that we have to meet with Whole Foods, and we're anxious to get started. This is obviously one of the steps so that we're in agreement of what all our responsibilities are in order to get started. Once we get the permit, we're working on the rest of the drawings as was approved by the City Council way back, was it April, March of last year, or this year, excuse me. And we're working on those building plans to submit for permit for those plans as well. We are making some minor tweaks to what the hotel area looks like, which was one of the conditions that we were supposed to come back for with the final plan on those. And we hope to present that to you shortly as soon as we have clarity on getting a permit for Whole Foods and getting started.
And so if I recall correctly, the hotel and also like a date night restaurant were going to be set aside. Are you now looking to do all of the entire project at once?
Yes, let's just call the southern side of Whole Foods, all that will be kind of phase two. We're planning all of that right now, finalizing our building plans, finalizing the tenant needs for all those buildings, and we should have that to the city in short order here, so we can start that. We are hopeful that we can start in the first quarter of '25 for Whole Foods, and we are hopeful that we start on the rest of the phase by mid-'25.
And again, just remind residents, how many apartment units will be in the building? What are some of the other,
Sure.
I know you have smaller restaurants, like a gym, I believe, a furniture.
Right. Right now, we are looking to do, I think, 150 units or 165 units. I don't have my plan in front of me, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. We are looking to do small shops along Haggerty Road, inclusive of a Starbucks, inclusive of a concept called Sweet Green, inclusive of a concept called Condado, inclusive of a concept called Cafe Patachu, which is a national breakfast spot. We're looking to get all our other service providers like Lens Crafters and those sorts of things. We're talking to a few restaurants. Luckily, we have the luxury of being in high demand with the restaurant partners out there, whether it's a Seasons 52, whether it's a Stony River, whether it's what other national brand there are, where we're just trying to figure out what the right fit is for this overall development. But there is definitely a lot of interest in this development, and we want to make sure we partner up with the right people that can, the city and ourselves can be proud of as this thing forms itself.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further from council? I just was going to point out, again, just a question of, thank you. I'm assuming that once everything rolls, you're looking at starting demo probably first in the spring?
As soon as I get a permit, we're starting demo. We've been working with your DPW, we've been working with Wayne County. We've been, obviously there's a traffic light that's going in there. We've got to check box all these things before a permit's released. We understand that, and we're working diligently through that process with all the necessary third parties.
Good luck with Wayne County. No, did I say that on record? Dang, I shouldn't have done that. No. But we appreciate the development. Honestly, it's spearing. We've got some other items on the agenda that take some more development eastbound, but this looks like an incredible development for Haggerty Road, for Livonia, Northville Township, everything. So thanks for bringing it to us, and we look forward for exciting things to happen next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, you have an approving on consent right now, so if you want to come and hang out with us, you can. If not, your matter is all but approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Any audience communication on this item? Oh, if you do, please make your way up to the podium. You've got name and address for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Probably late to the party, but my name's John Wysocki. I have 16348 Aldridge Court. We live in Quakertown across the street, and I guess this has all been approved. The questions, I just heard about this a couple of weeks ago, and the only thing I had to worry about, what are you guys going to do about traffic? It's already horrible there, and I don't know if there's going to be lights put in, or maybe it's the wrong time to ask these questions, but I just heard about
No,
this.
no, and I'm going to hand it over to Councilman Donovic, but a lot of those plan review, that's kind of what gets packaged in with all of the stuff that
Yeah,
the
I
developer's
understand.
going through. It's a huge development, but, Councilman Donovic, if you want to take it from here a little bit further.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. Thanks for coming tonight. We looked at this. There was a few public meetings back earlier in the year. We kind of went through the whole site plan process and discussing the different aspects of this development. There's a lot of different zoning, restaurants, hotels, apartments, and so on. So we went in a very in-depth process of what that would look like. One of the things we touched on is traffic. Unfortunately, that area is very congested, and we understand that. We have some oversight over traffic lights and whatnot, but ultimately the developer has to deal with Wayne County specifically. Wayne County and their engineers will work through a process with the developer and kind of determine. We try to impose traffic regulations and kind of work on those sorts of entrances and exits off the boulevard and right-of-way area, but ultimately the developer is going to work with Wayne County and talk about some proposed lights and maybe try to get some synergy between those lights, some control between the lights and proximity to one another. Some of those traffic lights are smart lights, with new technology. Some of them don't have that technology. I know our engineering department and our planning department tried to work as much as they can with Lane County, but ultimately they kind of have the full say over that road right there. So I hope that helps, but this is going to be a long process. We'll be talking to the developer again in the future for other phases of the project, but this has already been approved at a previous meeting. Today's document is kind of talking about more of the finite details of the plan development agreement to make sure that they adhere to the conditions that the city has imposed on them.
Okay, because I know when they put Buccal Tobacco in, they told us at the time they were never going to put in an entrance on 6 Mile. Well, that turned into 6 Mile. And I'm sure you're aware of Fox Drive, those extended stay back there. Everybody turns left out of there, even though there's a sign. So
You
we
can-
have
there's a
complained to the
Mr.
police
President.
before.
Absolutely, yeah.
and-
There's a card on the podium right there in front of you. If you want to take that card, reach out to her. She's the council manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can work with, sometimes we can work with our traffic commission, depending on, again, the location, whether it's city, property, or whatnot, but you can reach out to us and talk about those traffic signals or the traffic signs specifically, and maybe the traffic commission could take a look at that, help out, but no promises, but
I
maybe that
understand.
might be a.
I'm just saying they have a left turn sign up, but the people come out and meet it right, and they U-turn it right, and we can't get out.
I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
can't turn left.
But do us a favor with that card, reach out.
Okay.
And then shoot an email to Sarah, and what we can do is maybe send you the packet to show you everything that
Sure.
followed from that April 15th meeting.
Okay, well, thank you for
Well,
your time.
thanks for hanging out with us. Any other audience communications?
Yeah.
If you could make your way to the podium, you got name and address, and you got 2 minutes.
It's hurt me.
Good evening.
Galen Tucker. My address is 16332 Aldridge Court. I live in Quakertown. I have been a resident of Livonia since 1986. I love Livonia. I realize progress needs to be made. We have 2 entrances into Quakertown. Now, you talk about Wayne County. Can't the city of Livonia put another entrance into Quakertown? We can't get in or out. You've got the glass office building there, you have the restaurant across the street, and now you're putting in 150 housing units. That's 600 cars. We can't get in and out. We can't get our kids to school in the morning. We're just asking for either, you said Wayne County for the traffic lights, but can't you guys put another entrance on Haggerty?
I'd be happy to. So with that, with the traffic commission, if you want to as well, grab a card. So reach out to Sarah tomorrow. So if there's nothing that, oh yeah, perfect. So our traffic commission, what they'll do, I would tell you to literally submit a request to them to be seen before for your concerns of exactly what you're stating. They're the ones that can make that happen. So we don't have, people will come in and say, hey, the stop signs are missing here, this and that. The traffic commission has a jurisdiction on that, those items. So I would recommend reach out to Sarah tomorrow. She'll get you to the right people and then
Okay.
set up something, and maybe they'll throw you on the agenda.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep, Councilman Donovic?
Thanks, Mr. President. Mr. Termina, not to put you on the spot, I know the residents have mentioned Quakertown. That's a private development, correct?
Quakertown is a subdivision with public streets going in and, throughout the subdivision.
Right. So I guess by asking that question, another resident mentioned about the city putting in another roadway. We don't have that authority to just add another road into a private subdivision, correct?
Well, in that case, it would be a challenge just based on the ownership of property along Haggerty Road going into Quakertown, and, that, it would have to be studied to see if there's any opportunity with any of the other abutting properties, whether or not there's an access point that could be created into the secondary access point into the subdivision, but I'm not aware of any opportunity there.
And ma'am, I asked that question just because naturally we're sympathetic to
Yes.
residents that live in the area. And
There is
to your
an
point,
open path that the city
One
owns.
second, ma'am. To your point, yes, we need progress. We have a vacant building. A developer is investing tens and tens of millions of dollars into the project. So we take all those things into consideration. We do try to work with the developer on traffic. We did discuss at length about where the exits and entrances of the proposed development would be. trying to work with and trying to alleviate those traffic concerns. So we hear you, and we're not just trying to push you away to somebody else.
right.
It's hard for the city to eminent domain a piece of property and say we're going to go add a roadway in there
Right.
when there's private associations, there's private developers, there's private businesses along your neighborhood that may own that land. So I just don't want you to think we're pushing you off.
No.
Because it is a convoluted legal process
Right.
to kind of answer your question.
We have come before the board before because, like I said, there's one entrance off 6 Mile and one entrance off Haggerty. It goes the whole mile. So,
And a lot of times, and I can tell you, and you'll probably learn it with the traffic commission, is they have the SAD, a special assessment district, that might come into play on this to do another road because
Okay.
the development. So they'll have all that answers. And then another spot too is reach out to the fourth floor of the mayor's office. Our governmental affairs director, who I don't see here right now, but Sarah can get you in communication
Okay.
with him as well.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other audience communications? Seeing none, we are going to move on to item number 3 is a waiver petition. Comes to us from the Planning Commission in reference to petition 2024-10-02-17 submitted by CJ's Party Rentals, requesting waiver use approval to operate a truck rental facility that includes an outdoor storage of budget rental trucks at 37055 Industrial Road in the northwest section 29. Mr. Tormina.
Thank you. This is a waiver use petition involving rental of budget trucks. In this case, property is on Industrial Road, it's just east of Newburgh Road. As you can see from this zoning map, the zoning of the property is industrial, and it is surrounded by industrial properties. There's about an 8,000 square foot building on the property. The principal use of the property is rental of supplies for parties, including tables and chairs. They'd like to supplement their income during the slow times of the year by parking some budget rental trucks on the property. There's, I believe, 13 or 14 parking spaces on the property. They would use the south 6 or 7 spaces for truck storage on the property. Of course, not all the trucks would be there all the time. They would be moved back and forth. Planning Commission reviewed this item at their last public hearing and is recommending approval as submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Termina. Council,
Is there anyone here?
do we have the petitioner here? If we'd like to, oh, perfect. Not sure if we've got a ton of questions, but I appreciate you joining us. Can I have your name and address just for the record?
Sharice Jones, 37055 Industrial Road, Livonia, Michigan.
Thank you. Council, do I have direction?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may ask petitioner,
You
just
may.
a couple questions. How long have you been in business here?
I've been in business for 3 years. We were in Farmington Hills.
Okay. And how's it going?
I love it.
You love it? Okay.
Yes.
And-
We have grown from our first year. We started in March. In October, I had my own warehouse.
Nice.
Great.
Yes.
And how many trucks do you think you'd need to park out there, would you say?
The maximum amount of trucks that we had so far has been only 6.
6? Okay.
Yes.
And does that draw attention as well to
No.
your site? Not really, just?
No.
It's a add-on feature to?
Yes.
For
It
sale?
helps employ the employees that we have in the winter months.
Okay.
It keeps we are able to keep those employees employed.
Keeps them behaving, okay. Alrighty, well, Mr. Chair, always like to help small business in this community, and they have unique needs a lot of times. And this woman, 3 years, 5, they say you made it, so good luck, and
Thank
I'll
you.
offer an approving on consent if no objection.
We've been approving on consent. Do we have anything else from council? Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple quick questions. So are you renting these trucks out for people to use for the party rentals as well, or is it like a separate?
It's just a separate.
Okay. And are these trucks that you're leasing from budget, or you own the trucks and then you're
We're
renting
leasing them from budget.
Okay. And then you're looking, no, I think that was actually it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Donovan?
Thanks, Mr. President. Mr. Tormina, would this approving be staying just with this individual and her tenant as the tenant, and then when she leaves, this condition would go away, or would the next tenant be able to?
That is a good question. I do not believe the resolution included language restricting the waiver to this owner or proprietor solely. So if that's something the council
Sure.
would be interested in, then we'd have to add that language to the approving resolution for the voting meeting on the 18th.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, to the maker of the motion, would you be okay adding a restriction onto this resolution
Yes,
at
sir.
this stage with just this
Yes,
petitioner?
Councilman.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks,
Cool
Mr.
with that being on consent too? If that, so basically, that's a common thing. We would just, obviously, this waiver would stay with your business, and we would hope that you be here for another 55 years, and you're the biggest rental place in the world, and thank you for choosing Livonia, so.
Thank you for
Anything
having me.
Anything further from council? Anything from the audience? Well, again, thank you for choosing Livonia, and we wish you the best. If there's anything we could do to help you within reason, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item number 4 is a waiver petition. Comes to us from the Planning Commission in reference to petition 2024-10-02-18 submitted by Mr. McWells, requesting waiver use approval to construct an outdoor dining patio at 39305 Plymouth Road, located on the south side of Plymouth Road, east of Newburgh Road. Mr. Tormina.
Thank you. This is a request for an outdoor patio at Mr. Miguel's, which is on Plymouth Road. It's actually just south of, well, it's just east of Eccles Road as opposed to Newburgh Road. The property here measures about 1.3 acres. It extends, it's a deep property, about 527 feet. You can see the configuration here on the aerial photograph. The patio would go behind the building. It would extend from the rear. Has dimensions of, well, it's about 2,300 square feet altogether. You can see from this plan that there are 2 areas. There's the main outdoor patio for seating, and then there's a game area of roughly equal size, a little over 1,000 square feet for each section of the outdoor patio. This is a covered or semi-covered patio. It has a standing seam metal roof. Mr. Miguel's currently has 140 interior seats. This would add another 68 seats, including 56 to the main dining area and then another 12 to the game area. The required parking is 103 spaces. The plan submitted shows 109 spaces, but I will preface that by saying that there needs to be substantial work done to this parking lot. It's in very difficult, very rough shape. Does require the relocation of the dumpster. Planning Commission is recommending approval of the plans. We would ask that there be consideration given towards the final parking layout plan, particularly as it relates to safety along the west side of the property where it runs adjacent. The spaces there run very close to the adjacent office building where there are steps leading down to the lower level of that structure, and so we believe there needs to be some safety features provided there. But other than that, Planning Commission is recommending approval of the plans as submitted.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if we have a petition.
Is a petitioner here? Oh. I tell you what, while you're making your way up the podium, it's great to see. I know you guys have been in business how long now? A couple years? All right, in that location.
In that location, we opened February 2022.
Everything been going good?
Good, yeah.
And it's great to see,
That
honestly.
was our 3rd location. We just opened a 4th in
Great
downtown
food.
Utica and working on a 5th now as well. So we're happy to be in Livonia and looking to grow.
I love it. And name and address for the record.
Steve Savage, 39305 Plymouth Road.
Perfect.
And if I may continue then, if
Yeah,
that's okay?
absolutely.
To the petitioner, sir, how many restaurants do you own? Or,
Four existing. They're all Mr. Miguel's, same concept, same
Right.
menu.
can you give us a hint of where the other ones are? I think I passed one.
Yeah, our
out
first
near
location was
Tri-
in Warren, near 11 and Ryan.
Yeah.
Then we opened in Brownstown,
Brownstown,
Telegraph
that's
and West
it.
Road,
Yep.
and then Livonia. And then we just opened in downtown Utica, right by Jimmy John's Field.
Oh, yeah.
And we're working on a 5th location now in Partridge Creek Mall in Clinton Township.
Good for you.
And good for you.
Thank you.
I've been to your establishment
Oh,
several
thank you.
times. It's excellent. It's excellent food. Like has been pointed out by our planning, we do need to do something with that parking lot and as far as the condition, and then obviously the safety feature on it. So, I would love to see you guys succeed here, and I think the patio is going to be an awesome addition there. Maybe not in this weather, but obviously in some other weather. But, thank you for being here in Livonia and making it a great success. We really appreciate it, and I'll let one of my other colleagues offer an approving or whatever.
I'm going to go to Councilman Morgan, and then I'll pop over.
Yeah, hello. Appreciate you showing up tonight. I have a couple questions regarding the outside, and I see that there's going to be some gaming area and extra seating and stuff. Is it actually going to be a covered patio, or what's the plan with that?
The non-gaming side will have a cover on it, but
Okay.
it's not a Four Seasons cover. It's just for rain in the nicer weather.
Okay.
We're basically duplicating a patio we have in Brownstown, which works out really well.
That's nice.
And so that gaming side is just some cornhole, and it's really more for aesthetics. We put a nice turf down to give it some greenery. It's we're more of a family restaurant, so it's nothing that we don't stay open late.
What about music or anything like that? Do you plan on playing?
No
that
live
outside?
music, but we have speakers for ambiance.
Okay.
But
Something
no
like low, like no
Correct.
loud music in the evening, because in the park and things like that,
Correct.
sound travels quite a bit.
Yeah, no, we don't keep it too high. We're
Okay.
definitely more of a family restaurant.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. And just for the record, the parking lot, since we took over that building, the parking lot is a disaster. But the whole plan was always to put a patio in the back of the building, which goes on top of the existing patio, and obviously it's requiring changes to the patio to accommodate the parking lot to accommodate the patio. So, and we've put money into that parking lot just to get us by.
Yeah.
But part of this plan is to redo and resurface all of the problem areas, which is basically everything. The only area that's even good is in front of the building, which is actually where the least of our parking is. So everything on the west side and the back, that's always been the plan, and that's why we're here, and we presented that as part of the plan to the city council.
Councilman Donovan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for being here this evening. Thanks for putting money in your building. It's good food there, and I enjoy it. I know you are going to redo the dumpster enclosure. You're moving it closer to the building, correct?
Yes.
Do you plan on removing that existing dumpster enclosure back there? It's pretty rough.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you guys are going to remove that back there. And then the parking that goes way back towards those buildings to the south, is that also your parking lot back there?
Yes.
Or is it okay, interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting parking lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes way back there, and I imagine not a lot of that is used that far back.
Right, we don't,
Yeah.
I think with this proposal, because we'll eat up some of the parking that's existing, and, increased level of business, which is why we're investing, that we would start to use that, and just a nicer parking lot.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, it's, I think, years of truck traffic just spinning through there, it's destroyed.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, no, thank you for investing, and thank you for cleaning up that dumpster enclosure. I think that's been nice and handsome back there. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President. Is
Thank
there a
you.
motion?
As of right now, no.
No, there's not.
No, I'd like to offer approving on consent if there's no objection from my colleagues.
Perfect. Vice President, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a quick question, kind of following up with Mr. Morgan's. What are your hours of operation currently?
We are open there Sunday, 12 to 9, Monday, Tuesday, 2 to 9, Wednesday, Thursday, 12 to 9, Friday, Saturday, 12 to 10.
Okay, so you're basically closed at 9 every night except the weekend?
Correct.
Okay, would the hours of operation on the outdoor patio be the same?
Exact same.
Okay. I was just wondering about noise issues, but we're going to keep the music low, so that would be the only issue. With the increased business, and I looked at the reconfiguration with the parking lot, are we going to have enough parking spots now?
Oh, definitely. We have more on there than code requires for the
Okay.
number of occupants.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
We have an approving on consent. Did you want to say anything? No? Nothing from council? Anything from the audience? All right, we got an approving on consent. And I'm going to move on to item number 5 as a waiver petition, comes to us from the Planning Commission. This is in reference to petition 2024-10-02-19 submitted by Cooper's Hawk Winery, requesting waiver use approval to operate with an on-premises Class C liquor license, sale of beer, wine, and spirits for the consumption on the premises. Operate an off-premises SDM liquor license, sale of packaged beer and wine, and a full-service restaurant with outdoor dining at 17117 North Laurel Park Drive, located on the west side of Laurel Park. Mr. Termina.
Thank you. As expected, this is the Class C license for Cooper's Hawk. It also includes an SDM. Council's approval will require waiving the separation requirements based on the fact that there are several other Class C licensed establishments located within 1,000 feet of this. And then the SDM license, because this is a winery with sales of wine products to leave or for consumption off the premises. That's the request for the SDM. Thank you.
And Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to offer an approval on consent if it's okay with my colleagues.
We've been approving on consent. And is a petitioner here? Oh, good evening. Hello. I was just going to point out, since you probably, wanted to, I don't know if you want to say anything, but I got to tell you, since the last time we learned about Cooper's Hawk, it's a boom.
You're all wine club members?
Soon enough, honestly.
Yeah, Mr. President, didn't
Yes.
she say she was going to bring bottles of wine last time?
I thought
Just
so.
joking, just joking.
But I got to tell you, after doing research, I mean, you guys are the bomb.com. I'm
Yeah.
going to use that. I mean, everybody was raving about it. So
That's great. That's
again,
great.
we are super duper happy to see this. Are you planning? When has development started? Or planning? What are they thinking?
So from what I hear, our developer has been conditionally approved. There's a couple more questions on his sewer storm system. So within the next couple weeks, hopefully he's got his full permit and he can start work. We're planning on submitting shortly after that. So hopefully we can get started in March.
Awesome.
Great.
Anything from council? Well, we've been approving on consent. Honestly, this study meeting it shows all of the cool developments that are coming to our city.
Excellent.
And this is an incredible addition, along with, I believe Capitol Grill will be in there,
Yes.
and then there's going to be a couple hotels. So some big investments to an open vacant field, and thanks for choosing Livonia.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. What do you got?
Didn't you tell us there's one in Michigan, right?
Oh, we have several. We have one in Kentwood, Clinton Township, Troy, Michigan. Building one in Lansing should be opening in the next month or so.
Okay.
You want to
So
go?
we can go and see
Let's
them,
go
right?
see Troy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Should we call you a field trip down?
Yeah, I can have dinner with you. Sounds good.
No, I don't.
I want to go.
I just meant sometimes you can take us in the kitchen and show us
Absolutely.
the real stuff. If you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah. First, tell us your name again.
Jennifer Lucina. I'm the entitlements manager for Cooper's Hawk.
Okay, Jennifer.
I think she's asking if you're hiring. She wants to work in the kitchen.
We are always hiring. Always hiring.
We'll have to.
Seniors?
And it's a great company to work for, so I highly recommend that.
It's great. It's a great development.
She is terrible.
Is there any comments, audience communication on Cooper's Hawk? Seeing none, you got an approving on consent. Thanks again for hanging out with us. And,
Thanks, everybody.
If I can get invited to dinner with Councilman Toy and the rest of us, I'll be there. I'd like to try to cook something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure we can set something up.
Hopefully you got good insurance.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll do it off public hours,
Fair enough.
We're going to pull the request. if we
They're
keep
going to
pushing
pull it, yes.
Put a hard hat on her as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, what birthday is that, Rob? No.
Okay. Item number 6 is a site plan petition from the Planning Commission, petition 2024-10-08-07, submitted by Zach's Auto Wash, requesting approval of all plans to reconfigure the parking lot and drive-through facilities and remodel the exterior of an existing car wash at 36001 Plymouth Road, located on the south side of Plymouth Road between Levan and Yale Street. Mr. Termina.
Thank you. This site plan petition involves a major investment into the Zach's Car Wash on Plymouth Road. This site is about 1.4 acres in size, 100 feet of frontage on Plymouth Road, depth of 367 feet. The original car wash was built in, I believe, the mid to late 1980s, mid-1980s, and then in the early 90s, there was an addition, which was the quick oil change, which is in the northeast part of that building. With this plan, that quick oil change portion of the building gets removed. The flow of traffic on the site reverses. Right now, cars enter from the westerly driveway on Plymouth Road, circle in a counterclockwise direction through to the car wash or to the quick oil change. What will happen under the new plan is cars will enter from the east driveway. And you can see from the site plan, there are 2 service lanes that would be provided for the car wash portion of for the car wash. That was transitioned to a single lane where it enters the building on the south side. There is a bypass lane that loops back around. The vacuums, the few vacuums that exist on the south side of the building, all get removed, and those get relocated to the west side of the building where there are, I think, 11 parking spaces. You can see how that flow works now. Traffic, it's one directional or one way coming in on the east driveway. It's 2 directional on the west driveway, allowing for cars to enter or exit from that drive on Plymouth Road. Relocation of the dumpster, all new landscaping, and then the building itself gets reconfigured. This is the new appearance of the building. You can see a tower element that's provided on the front face of the building towards Plymouth Road. Those are metal panels, those gray. They use metal panels also for what appears to be wood, but that is actually metal. The tower element, I think, is about 23, 24 feet in height. The main part of the building is about 17 feet in height. And then this kind of gives you an image of what it looks like on the west side of the building where the vacuums and the additional parking spaces are located. I will point out that the ordinance does require at least 20 parking spaces. This plan provides, I believe, a total of 15 parking spaces. I'll have to check that, 14 or 15. So it will require a waiver on the part of council to have, I think, 5 fewer parking spaces than what the ordinance requires.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does the motion have to include it? Is it already included in the general, or should we specify?
The waiver usually requires a separate vote requiring at least 5 members to approve. I'm looking at Carter for a direction. But
Yeah. Sounds good. Councilman Toy.
I'd like to offer an approving. I think with all the car washes going into Livonia, this behooves them obviously to upgrade this site, and it's a welcome addition, if you will, for that site on Plymouth Road. Kudos to the petitioner and to planning. I mean, as we look at this, as you pointed out, Mr. Chair, congratulations to our planning commissioners and our planning commission and Mr. Tormina and his team, because they've done a fantastic job of bringing businesses into this community. A lot of communities age out after a while, but we've gotten several shots in the arm thanks to, all of us working together as a team there, but particularly within our planning department. Thank you to Mr. Tormina and staff.
Absolutely. I'll go to Vice President, I'll go to Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is the petitioner here? I had a couple questions quickly.
Good evening. If I could get name and address for the record.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. Jeff Klatt, Krieger Klatt Architects, 400 East Lincoln in Royal Oak, on behalf of the owner.
Thank you. To the petitioner, a couple just quick questions. It looks to be like self-service vacuums that you can use up. Okay. I assume, and from going to various car washes in Livonia, oftentimes we have trash cans by these vacuums, and I was just at one the other day where the trash was just blowing out of the trash cans. Is there a plan for that? Because I know when people are vacuuming their cars, they're also emptying the trash. Usually, I guess I couldn't see it on the plan other than just the vacuums, what the plan would be for the trash.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. I know the owner is still working with their car wash equipment vendor, Sonny's, but there would be trash at those receptacles, and they have staff on hand to remove that periodically. They want to make sure they're putting a lot of money into this development, so they want to make sure that it's maintained and clean and tidy all the time.
Because I guess my concern is like sometimes they just put like the rubber generic trash cans out there and they're blowing and I've seen this quite frequently at different car washes, so I just wanted to know what the plan was for that.
Yeah, I believe, like I said, I don't have the spec here, but I do believe they'll be mounted to the vacuum pole itself. Okay. And then they'll be frequently emptied by the staff.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Donovan.
Thanks, Mr. President. Thank you for being here tonight. You're a very reputable architectural firm, and I was excited to see the renderings. I think it's a huge improvement. Any plans for the other car wash that you guys operate over there on, what is it, Plymouth, just east of Middlebelt?
This is Zach's location too. I know they're planning, this team has purchased numerous facilities across Southeast Michigan, and they're proposing major renovations to pretty much all of them.
Okay.
So new equipment, new site layouts, making sure the traffic flow is increased, and just better visibility. So they're
No,
looking
and
at
I do
major-
thank you guys for updating this one, but the one over on Plymouth Road, just east of Middlebelt, it's pretty tired, so I'd hope that this council gets to see some improvements there as well sometime in the future. In particular with this one, Mr. Tormina, is there anything in here for PRDA improvements? Or would that not make sense at this location?
I believe that was not addressed, and.
'Cause I know council approved the 10 or 12 condos, I think just west of this, and I know there was PRD enhancements there. I just can't remember exactly where that
The
condo.
landscape plan is not showing any improvements along Plymouth Road at this time.
In your opinion, do you think this would be an appropriate location for that, or?
I'd like to take a look at that, and I believe that's something that we like to work with the petitioner on, yeah.
Okay. And then I know Council Vice President mentioned the vacuums. These are the same vacuums that we've seen some of these newer car washes, the big loops with the portable kind of blowers or vacuums, whatnot attached to them, right? There you go, yeah. Those are the colors you'll be doing, that blue, that light blue and yellow, orange maybe, for the vacuums?
Generally speaking, yes. Like I said, they're still working with the equipment vendor, but the goal is to play off the new branding for Zax, which is
Okay. And was there any landscaping to the south of this? It was kind of hard to see in the renderings.
Yeah, we did submit a landscape plan, and our civil engineer's not here this evening, but yes, I do believe that there is new landscaping along the backside of the building, yes.
The south side, because that's a budding residential back there, right?
Yeah, if it pleases the council, we'd like to work with the petitioner on the final landscape plan. That would include not only the PRDA improvements along Plymouth Road, but also landscaping. When I visited this site today, while there are some bushes, some tall arborvitaes along there, there's also some gaps along the wall that probably need to be taken care of. The nice thing about this plan is they're pushing those improvements, are actually increasing by quite a lot the amount of landscaping back there. So I think there's great opportunity for some additional screening along the south property line.
It's good to hear. I know there was another car wash on Plymouth Road that there was some concern by residents for those because now you're adding so many of these new vacuums, and there's some discussion about noise. I think trying to add some landscaping enhancements that's abutting that residential to the south would be great. But yeah, otherwise, great project, and I'm excited to see this come to life.
Vice President? Thank you. Kind of just to piggyback a little bit on Mr. Donovic. I remembered it now. It came to me watching the Planning Commission meeting on this. There was some discussion about the PRDA, the Plymouth Road Development Authority, and I know that the petitioner at the time said they weren't really interested in putting up the knee walls. But I think that's something that we've kind of talked about a little bit.
And to your point, Vice President, now that I'm looking at this aerial, to the east, Mr. Tormina, is that condo project?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. That's
And I remember-
the former, yes, that's correct. That's,
So if I remember correctly, we did include PRD improvements along Plymouth Road for that. So I think it only makes sense that that continues westernly in front of this project.
Some continuity.
Yeah, some continuity.
Yeah, that's what I was.
And just to ask another question, if I may, Mr. President, is there landscaping in between that condo project next door and this car wash along that easterly border right there, along the property line?
you're asking if yes, there is. So along this side, excuse me.
Yeah, because now you're adding a lot of cars.
On this side of the driveway?
Yeah, but going all the way down
is there
south.
landscaping? No, there is no landscaping to speak of that I'm aware of. Let me go to the landscape plan. I don't believe there were.
I'm just saying it's uncommon for us to see two redevelopments occur so closely to one another. So maybe if to Council Vice President, if there was some continuity between, we got this nice new condo project happening next door, and now we have this redevelopment, maybe it's an opportunity to see maybe you can look at both of those plans and see what kind of landscaping improvements we can do between those two. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Morgan.
Sure.
Yeah, I do believe that the property that's showing here, I don't think there's any green space area on the east side of this project. it would go right into the new condo project. There would be no area to put any type of green space along the condos. That's going to be on the condo project, I do believe. And is that correct?
No, there would appear to be maybe 8 to 10 feet of distant space between the driveway and the property line. So there would be room for some type of landscaping. And I'll have to go refer back to the condominium plan to see what had been proposed along there. But it would be nice to supplement some of the screening along that side where some of the homes are going to be built.
Okay.
So I agree.
All right. Councilwoman Toy?
Real quick to the petitioner. The new car wash where Archie's used to be there on Plymouth Road, I don't know if you're familiar with that site. It's across from the Terrace Theaters,
Okay.
just beyond, below Middlebelt Road, west of Middlebelt Road. Pulled in there one day to get the car washed, but they don't take cash. Will you guys be taking cash as well as credit cards?
Yes, there's an attendant booth they're proposing here. So it's like more of the modern washes. There's a lot of a membership-based, type style.
Yeah.
So they do have more of the quick access lanes, but there is a booth for cash transactions too.
Yeah, and I get credit card concepts, but, you can lose a lot of customers.
Oh, for
if they
sure.
do. And cash is kind of a good thing to have, if you know what I mean, rather than the percentage they take from you in credit cards. But I also wanted to compliment you. If you're going to use the gold and blue colors, I think that would be very appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great point.
All right. Councilwoman Budzinski?
So if I'm not mistaken, there's no motion on the table, correct?
Yes.
No, we do. We have one on consent.
Could we move it to regular?
Sure.
Just so that the petitioner has an opportunity to maybe work with Mark, and look at how we can improve the enhancements around the perimeter between now and our next meeting. I think that it would make us all more comfortable for the residents who currently live on the back end, but then, future residents who are living on the side, along with the PDRA. We're really, committed to creating a strong community and moving Livonia forward in terms of having an identity. Plymouth Road is a popular thoroughfare. It's one of our core corridors in the city, and I think it's really important that we're consistent, especially when we have these opportunities with new development. This has been something that we've asked multiple petitioners recently who've come with projects along Plymouth Road, so I think it'd be appropriate that we have the same expectations for this project too.
Sounds good. So we have an approving on regular. Anything further from council? Anything from the audience? All right. So we will see you back here on Wednesday, December 18th for a vote. So you have an approving on the regular.
Thank you very much. And then we can work with Mr. Tormina?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I would suggest that if there is any additional new information, get it to us so we can review it for the packets to make our vote that much easier. All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 7 is a request to approve hourly rate increase. Comes to us from the Department of Civil Service for the library page and student page classifications due to the new minimum wage rates. Do we have someone from? We do not. So we have no one from the administration to speak on this, Council.
Mr. President, can we
Yes.
table this to another meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't take a vote on it if no one's here to represent the item,
No.
so.
So we're going to table this item, and we can add it to the next study. Moving on to item number 8 is an award of bid. Comes to us from the Department of Community Resources in reference to the printing of the City of Livonia's 2025 Connections magazine from budgeted funds. Good evening. How are you?
Good. Good evening, Council. Kristen Houchins, Director of Communications. Here tonight to ask your approval for the bid by Hearst for the Connections 2025 printing contract. It's a 1-year contract, and Hearst has been our printer since 2022, so for the past 3 seasons of Connections. They were the lowest bidder for the 64-page, 8 glossy publication. However, we are moving towards more glossy pages, where they were the second lowest bidder. But Printwell, who is the other bid, Printwell's bid reflects a price decrease with the addition of glossy pages, whereas all the other bidders reflected it as a price increase. So having worked with Hearst and Printwell on past projects, Communications and Parks and Rec staff recommends awarding the bid to Hearst. Of course, you can see that prices have gone up, just like everything. The Connections is no exception. We just get hit with the price increases like everyone else.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I may, to the director. I remember the controversy that surrounded this about three years ago. Yeah, Rob would remember as well as Brandon. But it's such a vast improvement over what we used to have. And I commend you and your team
Thank you.
of staff as well. I have no reservation. I know that costs keep going up. I mean, ink costs, paper costs, the whole bit.
Yes.
Labor costs.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy out there. So I'm going to ask for an approving on consent because they're a vendor we've dealt with before. I'm sure they're timely and we know them and we have a association with them as well.
We have a great relationship with them.
Okay.
They respond to us in a very timely manner, and they work with us very closely. We really do have a great working relationship with them.
That's great. And this is full of tons of information and resources. So sometimes so much, though, that, you want to take a few days to absorb it. But,
Yes.
So thanks for all the work you do.
Thank
and I would ask for an approving, Mr. Chair, even on consent if we could.
Sounds good. We have an approving on consent, Council. Do we have anything further? Seeing none, audience, do we have any concerns? Seeing none, you have an approving on consent?
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 9 is a request to waive the formal bid process and authorization to purchase Extreme Network switches through the REMC contract pricing. Comes to us from the Information Systems Department from Budgeted Funds. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Council. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm requesting an approval to upgrade the city's network switches, which allow all of our computers, phones, and servers to connect and communicate with each other. Right now, we're using Dell switches that are over 10 years old and nearing end of life. We were planning to replace them with Extreme Network switches. These are cloud-managed devices that are modern, cost-effective, and will integrate seamlessly with the city's existing wireless network. Delta Network Services is a vendor on the REMC contract and has extensive experience configuring and installing this equipment with public sector clients. They're offering us a 69% discount off the list price, and this project includes installing and configuring 73 switches and additional hardware throughout the city, ensuring our systems remain secure, fast, and reliable for years to come. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council?
Approving.
Consent?
Sure.
Anything further from Council? Seeing none, anything from the audience? You have an approving on consent?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10 is a request for the authorization to purchase 5 Exmark Laser S-Series 749 zero-turn mowers through the Sourcewell Consortium. Comes to us from the Department of Public Works. When I see lawnmowers, it gives me hope of spring. So, Mr. Roraff, please, indulge us in how cool this is.
Good evening, Don Roraff, DPW. I'm trying to bring a new light. Normally, I'm bringing bad news. So, green lawnmowers, right? So, yes, as you mentioned, we're looking for 5 mowers that were requested and approved in the 2025 capital outlay budget. These 5 mowers all coming with 60-inch mowing decks. They will be used by all the crews in the parks. These are used with our larger mowers in these areas to mow around the trees, do different tighter areas where the larger mowers cannot be used. Those are also the mowers that we use to mow all of the city buildings as well. These are purchased through the Sourcewell discount program. The servicing dealer for these are Weingart's Equipment here in Livonia. And the mowers will be being replaced because of the repair costs that are exceeding their current values. So the department is asking City Council to approve the purchase of these 5 mowers for a total of $63,995. That comes out to $12,799 each. And I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. President?
Let me go. Yeah, I'll go to Councilman Morgan, then Vice President.
I'd just like to offer an approving on consent.
Thank
This
you.
is pretty standard.
Vice President.
I was basically going to do the same thing and congratulate you for finding a Livonia business to buy them from as well.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, to Mr. Roroff, how long do the mowers usually last, these types?
These are usually running on a 5 to 7 year window.
Are they?
They take a lot of abuse. They're out there all day long, every day.
Those are used for the golf courses as well, or no?
Golf courses purchase their own, but they do have similar
some of
mowers.
those. Okay. And I also wanted to commend you for the leaf pickup this year. Our street got done today for the last time, so thank you very much. I mean, it was done very nicely. Cleanup was great, and people really appreciate that.
The crews were doing an awesome job this year, and
Awesome, yes.
we're right on schedule. So hopefully, we're ending the leaf program tomorrow after we get through the last 2 sections, barring any major setbacks. So
Otherwise, it'll be snow pickup, sir.
if you happen to see the forecast, yeah, we're really trying to get it done by tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Okay, thanks again. Tell them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yep.
acknowledging them. They're doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Any issues with from the audience on this item? Seeing none. Moving on to item number 11 is a request for authorization to purchase one Case 588H four-wheel drive T4 final rough terrain forklift. Comes to us from the Department of Public Works. Mr. Roroff.
Thank you. As you mentioned, this is a four-wheel drive forklift. This one is used to unload construction supplies over on Glendale. We do actually drive this unit over the road. It's roadworthy and it's capable of lifting all of the very heavy supplies that we use for the roads department and the water section off of semi-trucks. The servicing dealer for this piece of equipment is Southeastern Equipment in Novi. This equipment is also being purchased through Sourcewell. This unit is replacing, just for Councilwoman Toy's next question here, this unit is replacing a unit that was purchased over 30 years ago. So the repairs on this have finally hit the point where they outnumber the value of the machine. We will be disposing of this machine through the auction process, and the department is asking council to approve the purchase of a unit for a total cost of $109,017.40. This cost also includes a 3-year extended warranty, delivery, freight, and setup charges. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. Chair. I mean, who doesn't love a good forklift, right?
I know, that's what I was
So
gonna say.
I'd be happy to offer approving on consent.
Awesome. We have an approving on consent. Anything further from council? Anything from the audience? All right, Mr. Roroff, you are good to go on
Thank you.
item number 11.
Have a good evening.
You too. Move on to item number 12, is a request to amend contract with D'Angelo Brothers. Comes to us from the Department of Public Works to include lead and galvanized service line replacements as required by the EPA and Eagle at various locations throughout the city in an amount not to exceed $1,750,000 from budgeted funds, and we do have new data, as I mentioned earlier. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Ryan Furrow with DPW. It's a little hot up here. So as part of the lead and copper rule, all water supply owners must change out all lead and galvanized service lines found in the water supply system. The city of Livonia currently has 38,991 water service lines. Out of those, we currently know the material at 16,563. We have changed out 97 lines to date, lead lines. Additionally, we have a total of 157 lead lines that we need to change out and 22,428 more lines we need to identify. To help us with this project, we have created a website called checkyourpipeslivonia.org where residents can find instructions on how to determine their service line material through an online assessment, through a survey, or make an appointment to have a city representative come to their home for an assessment. Valuing the health and welfare of every resident in the city, the administration has set a very aggressive goal of identifying and removing all lead pipes from our system by the end of 2027. D'Angelo Brothers has agreed to hold their current pricing through the end of the 2027 contract. The average cost to replace the service line is $7,500. With D'Angelo Brothers including the restoration. In comparing this cost with other communities, we have found this to be a good price and very competitive. D'Angelo Brothers has been working with the city of Livonia since the early 90s. Their professionalism is great, provides us, their professionalism has provided the city of Livonia very much, It's hot up here. The professionalism that D'Angelo Brothers provides to the city of Livonia is very much appreciative, and there's never a doubt the work will be completed in a timely manner or under budget. We request City Council approve the amendment to their contract service to include lead service line identifications and replacements and increase the fiscal year of 2025 budget from $410,000 to $1,750,000. This is an increase of $1,340,000 from the unexpended budget. In addition, we request council to approve an additional emergency expenditures performed by D'Angelo Brothers in the amount of $200,000, which have been incurred in fiscal 2024 because of the increase of the lead service line replacements.
Wow.
Be happy to answer any questions.
Sounds good. Councilman Donovan.
Thanks, Mr. President. Thank you, sir, for being here tonight. Appreciate it. How's the new position?
It's going well. A lot to learn, diving in feet first with this program here. It's been a busy 3 months tackling this, but we have a great team and it's going very smoothly.
It's not like there's any big transformative things happening in DPW, right?
There's always stuff going on.
So when we talk about lead lines, can you dive in a little deeper? I know people hear lead and water, and naturally they get a little worried. I guess if you just explain it to us like normal everyday residents, we don't necessarily have lead in our water, right? These are just kind of the pipes going from your basement to the connection at the city line?
Yeah, that is correct. So majority of the water mains in the city of Livonia that the city owns that transmits the water is either cast iron, HDPE, or ductile iron. Lead lines are found from the water main to the home, to the property. So that's what we're looking to identify and change out.
And let's just say I have a lead line at my house, and you come out and you detect that. What should me as a resident expect? You guys are going to dig up my front lawn and ruin all my landscaping? How does that kind of work?
So part of asking for this approval is we would provide a filter to you immediately. Then we want to get you on a replacement program. It takes about 4 hours to change out. We dig up your front yard where the shutoff valve is at. It's about a 4 foot by 6 foot hole. Then a 2 foot by 2 foot hole in your basement floor. That's all restored and put back together with a copper line.
So what happens if I have really beautiful marble floors in my basement?
We haven't come across that yet.
Well, you got to go to Mr. McCullough's house. He's got marble down there. No, it's
Tons of marble everywhere.
It's great because we are trying to be leaders in the state and trying to dig up some of these old lines. And I'm happy to see D'Angelo is working with us. They have a lot of great experience, and I find them to be courteous to the residents. Naturally, what resident wants to do with their front lawn being dug up, but ultimately we want to make sure that water is clean and safe. And we most recently have seen DPW deploy our systems because we hit a certain limit that the state imposes on communities, and our water department and you and our director of DPW were out there immediately and looking at those and taking them seriously. So I think we are leaders in Michigan in that situation. So thanks to your guys' team, and I think D'Angelo will do a good job. Mr. President, I'd like to offer an approving on consent if there's no objections, my colleagues.
We're going to approve it on consent. Anything, Councilwoman Budzinski?
Yeah, no objection. I just wanted to share that it is recommended that all residents check their pipes. So I went through this process. It's very simple. You can go to check your pipes, Livonia.org. There's an online scheduling tool that you could use. They were literally in and out of my house within 2 minutes because I didn't have lead lines. So I was just curious, how has been the responsive rate from residents, going through this process? Are you guys meeting your targets? Do we need to, I know our communications department's been busy with trash bins lately, but.
So I'm just listening to council meetings and like that. I know you do your coffee meetings and stuff like that. That'd be great to share this.
Absolutely.
We still have 22,000 lines to identify, so that's a big push. If we can get inside a person's home, it saves the tax dollars or the taxpayers a lot of money because getting inside someone's house doesn't really cost a whole lot. We just go there and take a look. Or same with the online survey. Since this initiative, October 9th, we've had just over 17,000 in-person inspections and over 1,000 online. So in 2 months, we've had, almost 3,000 identified. So it's working, it's going quick, but the more the merrier. Like Councilman Donovic said, we want to get ahead of this. We want to be kind of done with it. EPA and EGLE is constantly changing their rules and they're getting stricter and stricter. We want to find everything in our system, get it out, and move on to the next greatest thing.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick.
Floor's yours.
If I may, can you shoot the phone number off?
Yeah, so the The hotline number is 734-466-2019.
Okay, and we put that on the scroll and everything on the
Yeah,
TV and
yep.
the whole bit.
Yep, and it's in the mailers, it's on this website, it's all over the
And
place.
still people ask, though. Yeah, that's all right. Cool, thanks.
Yep.
I have a quick question for you. What year and newer did they stop putting the lead lines in?
So the lead ban came in effect in 1988. So that's
Okay.
when it was supposed to stop getting put in the system.
So-
That's for lead pipes, but there's also a different ban for fixtures, a faucet. That lead ban came in effect in 2014.
Yeah.
So you might have a copper line, but you might have fixtures that have lead in it.
Okay, so if your home is 2014 or newer, you don't have to worry about it, but as far as but we don't replace the fixtures, we're just replacing the pipe from
Correct, the service
street.
line. Yeah,
So-
and I.
So we are looking back into anything newer than 1988, 89.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different modeling and stuff you can do. You can look at the age of the home when it was built, and you can rule out, hey, there's not a lead line at this house because it was built after 1988 type thing. But ultimately, we want to have records for every single house.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Donna.
Sir, what happens if a household has, how do they identify a fixture that has lead? What happens if they had a lead fixture? How do we tell them, hey, you have lead in your fixtures from Home Depot or whatnot?
So we're not getting into the private plumbing. It's kind of on the homeowner to know, hey, is your fixture from 2014 or prior? If you're not really sure, you might want to be safe and just change it out. We're not getting into the private plumbing.
Okay, so that's your typical sink faucet in your bathroom, in your kitchen,
Yep.
laundry room.
Yep.
Great, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anything else from council? We do have a motion, correct? On consent?
I believe
Cool.
so.
Yes.
Anything from the audience on this? Seeing none. Again, keep up the great work. Honestly,
you.
the transparency that you guys have been doing have been great. And the work is even better. I think that a lot of people, especially when that rolled out, all they kept thinking was Flint. And
Yep.
this is more of a proactive and preventative, solution that you've been rocking and rolling. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Moving on to item number 13 is request for additional expenditure. It comes to us from the engineering division in reference to the Newburgh Road emergency repairs from budgeted funds. Mr. Zelinsik.
Thank you, Council President, council members. As you all know, Newtonburg Road from Plymouth Road all the way down to Ammerheim was in perilous condition due to the traffic from 275. We went out in October to do a major portion shortly after Wayne County resurfaced Plymouth Road from Eccles to Marketplace, so we're very grateful to them to get that corridor resurfaced. We were able to do the major portion on the dedicated turn lane to turn right or west onto Plymouth Road, along with a little portion on the north side of Plymouth on Newburgh Road, including Ammerheim. We had to come back and do round two, which was a couple inlets were looked like they were failing just north and south of the bridge. That was done a couple weeks ago, along with a portion in front of Newburgh Village on the southbound lane. We're asking for your approval in the amount of $99,349.25 to Great Lakes, which held their unit prices from 24J in an effort to close out the project for their services. If any further questions, I'll be happy to answer those. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you,
President.
Council. Yes, Councilman Morgan.
Offer approving on consent.
We have an approving on consent. Anything further from council? Anything from the audience? All right. We're moving on to our last item, is item 15, is a request to amend council resolution.
14.
Oh, I'm sorry.
14.
I got ahead of it. My guy was getting pumped up. Item number 14 is a request to accept settlement. This comes to us from the Department of Law between the City of Livonia and Great Lakes Water Authority in reference to settlement for costs incurred due to water main breaks as a result of work performed by the GLWA on 8 Mile Road. Is this Mr. Fisher?
Absolutely. So, earlier this year, GLWA was doing some work on 8 Mile, and they shut down a couple of our connections, causing some water main issues for us. We've gone back and forth with GLWA pretty extensively on this, exchanged a fair amount of information, and came up with a settlement that we're very satisfied with. They're going to be paying us approximately $167,000 in repair costs, and then another $3,000 for water replacement for a total of just above $170,000. And as I said, DPW did a lot of the legwork on this, but we're very pleased with that result.
That's great. Council,
Approving.
consent?
Yeah.
We got an approving on consent. Anything further? Anything from the audience on recapturing some funds? Seeing none? Great work, guys. That's those don't go unnoticed, so nice work on that. Now we'll move on to the last item. Item number 15 is request to amend Council Resolution 326-24, comes to us from the Department of Law, to include shipping costs for the previously approved purchase of 40,000 waste trash carts and 40,000 waste recycling carts from Toter from budgeted funds. Is this you again?
This is, so the resolution approving the purchase of the carts from Toter just erroneously stated the price. Every presentation prior, including the presentation from Finance, included the corrected price and shipping costs, and the resolution just missed the shipping costs and only included the price of the containers, but this is all budgeted. We're just asking that the resolution be redone so that we can issue a correct purchase order.
Sounds good.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, when we were looking at the packet, you see the 3.764, and you're like, wow, we're saving some money from our earlier conversations, and you look at the actual figure, the 4.1, and you're right, that was a number we were all basing our opinions on, or decision-making on at the time, so this is just kind of a little clerical oversight, so I don't see any issue with it. If it's all right, my colleagues would like to offer an approving consent. There's no objection.
Council, anything further? I thought we had a coupon code for free shipping.
Yeah. If only.
That one fell flat.
Should have negotiated harder.
Anything further from council? Anything from the audience?
I do have one request.
Yes.
If we could hear item 7, Civil Service and I have been in communication, and this item is a little bit exigent. Janine apologizes. She thought that this was going to be heard at Wednesday's meeting, but we do have some changes to the statewide minimum wage that will affect some of our classifications at the library, and that goes into effect January 1st. We won't have another study meeting until January, and if we could just get an approving on regular,
and then we can obviously get the diet. We will have someone from.
We will, absolutely. And she did give me a little background if there are questions tonight, but I'm sure she's much more capable of answering those
Council,
questions.
it's your discretion for the maker of the motion. Donovic for an approving on regular.
Thank you.
And with that, is there, well, you know what, I'll go to the audience on that. We are switching item 7, which is the request for the hourly rate increase for the regular. Any questions on that? You guys good with it? All right. With that, I'm going to close the meeting. Any words of
Wisdom?
Yeah, what do you got?
None.
All right. Good night, Livonia. Millions of viewers are so disappointed.